as well. I gotta go live because I committed to a schedule. First and 15th. Shout out to the replay gang for those folks that don't watch live, for those folks that are not here. But here we are. Here we are. Appreciate everybody for being here. For those folks that do come through, those folks that do watch. I understand it's Halloween and everybody's doing their thing. Everybody got their stuff going on. I appreciate that as well. Appreciate the person for the one thumbs up. Again, like I said, hopefully everybody is safe. Yeah, I'll get into everything that I got to get into right now. What's going on, Mighty R? I appreciate you. I saw you out there. What's going on, Cheryl? Appreciate you. Happy Sunday to all you folks and all that stuff coming out. It's a it's a Sunday, but I did my early voting. If you can see it there, I did it. Like I said, I got that out the way for those people that vote, for those people that believe in doing their civic duties and stuff like that. Election day is coming coming around the 3rd. I got prayers and thoughts in advance for my Republican friends out there. For those folks out there, it may be a sad day for you. What's going on? Who's that right there? Candy. Hello, Candy. 90 Glock. Yes, brother. Yes, I see you, George. What's up? Like I said, hopefully everybody voted and did what they had to do. Let me get into it right now. I encourage people to vote if that's your thing. If it's not your thing, I understand for religious reasons and all that other stuff. Maybe you don't want to vote. Maybe you don't believe in the system. Maybe that's not your thing. But I encourage people to do it because, like I said, your voice needs to be heard. You need to understand that your voice matters, regardless of what side you're on, regardless if you go for Trump, regardless if you go for Biden. Obviously, this is more of an issue of character, the direction of the country that we want to go into. There's no need for me to get too deep into the issues and whatnot. You already know it. Exactly. Go out there and vote if you can vote. Only way I understand you not voting is if you're religious, if you're not into it, if that's not your thing. I get it. Or maybe you got felonies, or you don't have a social security number. I get that. I ain't mad at you. Do what you got to do. But for those people out there, understand that it's a stark contrast between the direction of where America's going now and where it will be going. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm not here to try to expound upon the issues, but this election is important because it will determine a lot of things, especially with the Supreme Court, Amy Coney Barrett, our economy, coronavirus. There's early voting out there, so there's no excuse for folks to vote. I was going to vote on election day, but I realized that I have to work on election day, so it makes sense for me to do what I have to do. I voted locally for my state. Yeah, definitely. Vote in your state. Wherever your state is, vote wherever you got the polling sites at, wherever you got early voting. And I understand some states don't have early voting, but I still encourage you, if you believe in your civic duties and having your voice be heard and going out there and being a show of force, then go out there and do what you got to do. Some people don't believe in the system, and some people feel like, why are we voting? Because it's just the same old as a rehashing of all the issues. And that may be the case, but you still speak and let your voice be heard, because there's a lot of people that fought and died for us to have the right to even be able to vote, to be able to not vote, to abstain from voting. There's a lot of people who fought and died and sacrificed, especially if you're somebody who's a minority, a person of color, if you're a woman, if you're somebody who's coming in from the country and being naturalized. It is definitely a big thing. And then I guess, for those people out there who support Trump, maybe you want to push those issues and support your man and, keep America great, or make America great again, or whatever you call it, or you for Biden, and you want some stability, or you want to go in a different direction. Maybe that's something that you want to do. Brenda G, appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Wow. Shout out to Brenda G. But like I said, that's enough of that. Go out there and vote. Exercise your civic duty. Do what you got to do. Make it happen. Don't be shy. Stop fronting. Stop playing games. Unless, you don't feel like it means anything. But I'm going to do what I got to do. Like I said, again, I voted. If you can see it, I voted. But anyway, going to something it's even more seriously. Unfortunately, I really don't like to talk about this, but I got to say something. What's going on, Joanna? Appreciate you for coming through. Got to talk about the Walter White Jr. shooting out there in West Philadelphia. That happened over a week ago. It's kind of, somebody asked me the question about the Walter White Jr. shooting. They said, should the officers have shot him? He was shot 11 times. Obviously the man he didn't obviously have mental health issues, but it was found out that he had mental health issues. I feel in regards whether the system works, you can do at least vote, let your vote be heard. Yes, yes, Candy, that you can let your vote be heard. I encourage people to do that because if you feel like your vote doesn't matter and your voice, doesn't mean anything, then you're right. If you feel like it means something, then you're right. That's up to you. But don't give that power away. Usually, it depends on what you want to do with that. If you think it doesn't mean anything, then you're right. If you think it means something, then you're right. That's all the choice. That choice says a lot about you. But back to the Walter White Jr. shooting. Somebody asked me in the week, they said, do you think Walter White should have been shot? Or could the cops have done it a different way? Could they have gone about that in another manner? And I say yes, but then it also goes into a whole host of things about what's happening and what was going on. With the racial tensions and the racial justice going on inside the country right now, everything is a powder keg. With all the stuff surrounding about what do you call it? I keep forgetting this guy's name. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and all the others that were killed. Forgive me for anybody if I'm getting it because I got so much stuff going on in my mind, stuff that I'm trying to remember because I'm trying to focus on Walter Wallace Jr. and this whole situation that's going on right now. So apparently, the man was a 27-year-old black man, and the cops were called. There's a 911 call in the area saying that there was some arguing, there was some commotion. And whoever called the cops didn't take note of the fact or find out what was going on. They just called the cops. They brought him there. The man had a knife. The cops came. You see all the video. Basically, the guy was shot 11 times. And somebody asked me, should it have happened? I don't think it should have happened. I think it should have been differently. But also, I look at the community. If people pay more attention to what's going on in the community, we have a sense of who our neighbors are sometimes if we care enough to pay attention about who our neighbors are and what's going on. I'm not saying that the cops were right. I'm not saying that the people were totally wrong, but I think it was a community responsibility as far as the shooting of Walter Wallace Jr., as far as how that transpired. I think people probably hastily called the police. The police came, saw a man with a knife, not understanding that he had mental health issues, shot him 11 times because he wouldn't put the knife away. And the people probably knew somebody in the area had to know that he had mental health issues. But at the same time, I think it was a breakdown of communication and the community not coming together to actually talk to each other and get with each other and really find out what was happening. Sometimes it's not an issue about having more training, because when you go to certain neighborhoods, they don't need more training in the neighborhoods where they have money, where they have power, where they have resources. It's about how you deal with people. It's about communication. It's about wanting to know folks, about community policing, and it's about understanding each other, and it's about being there for each other as neighbors. So I feel like there was a breakdown there. So that led to the shooting, the unfortunate, passing of Walter Wallace Jr. So it's kind of crazy like that. I'm trying to simplify it and not spend too much time on it, because this is an issue that's not going to go away when it comes to racial injustice or racial justice. There's something that we definitely have to do as a country, as a society, as a humanity. Need dialogue in the community. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I think that's one of the breakdowns about communities. That's why we have issues between white and black and gay and straight and religious and political. As far as somebody had asked me not too long ago, why is the country so divisive? Is the media dividing us and all that other stuff? The police need to be better vetted, more training in mental illness and how to handle situations like that. You can make that argument, but it is something to be said about the community, because there's people that knew that the man had mental health issues. 11 times, way too much. They could have aimed for a leg or something like that. Well, somebody said something about that, Mighty R, too. If you would have aimed for a leg, what happens if you ricochet a bullet and off and it hits a kid? Or if it hits an innocent bystander? Or if it hits somebody that had nothing to do with the situation? I don't agree with how the situation was handled, but it's still a situation where if people would have talked to each other, because that's a situation where the cops didn't have to be called. They didn't have to bring somebody in, especially if you know somebody in the area. I think maybe the community should have stepped in and got involved and tried to, get the knife out the man's hand, especially if the mother was there. The mother was on the scene. So it's a situation that got out of control when there was somebody around that knew that this young man had mental health issues. But like I said, can't play Monday morning quarterback about the situation after the man is gone. Rest in peace to Walter Wallace Jr. and that situation as far as how it goes. The police actually got a lot of training, but the problem is at the end of the day, it's still human. Yeah, well, that's true, 90 Glock. Folks are still human. And, but what does that mean? Does that mean us being human, that it's okay to overlook these things, that it's okay for us to just say bang bang, or get them up. They said when they asked the cops about the shots that went off, they said, did they realize how many times they shot? And the officer said they didn't realize how many times they actually shot the man. 11 times, and that was crazy. So the adrenaline rush was just going. It's just like they saw a black man charging at them, and he had a knife in his hand, and it was danger. And I guess survival instinct kicked in, and bang, 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 and there we were. And it's unfortunate for it to happen in front of his mother and the family, in front of the community. But it is something to be said too. Also on the other side, if he has mental health issues, if there's somebody that's willing to step up, if I'm in the midst of that, and I know the turmoil that's going on with the police, like the decisiveness, like I said, the powder keg that it is to call the police officers now, I probably would have handled it a different way. It means that they want to live and they want to go home at the end of the day. Yeah, 90 Glock, that's one way of looking at it. But I also put responsibility on the community too. If there was somebody there that knew, then somebody step up, because hey, what's going on, Iron Firehorse? Because you don't want a person to have to be in a situation like that, and they also get neglected on certain aspects. Yeah, they do get neglected on certain aspects. I just think it was a failure to communicate and put the aspects of what was going on out there before the community. There was mistrust between the police. The police probably had fear about who this man was, and it turned into a situation that's got so ugly, that's so crazy. So I mean, it's a rough one, because no matter what the police would have did, that was ultimately my concession on it, or my consensus of the situation. No matter what they would have did, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I do believe that it is something more needed with the community. People need to actually communicate with each other and talk to each other and really see each other, just as human beings, regardless of the uniform, regardless of the people in these, urban, low income, high crime neighborhoods. And that's something that we have to deal with in the days and months and years to come. 90 Glock. The problem is the people in the community don't know how to handle things. So when they get scared, they call someone else to handle situations that they already had a handle on. Well, that definitely could have been one of those things, 90 Glock. And I think it's a combination of those things, because if that was my family member or somebody that had a knife, I would have jumped in and got involved, as opposed to having the police come and then the situation get out of hand because they don't really know what's going on, and it's not being expressed. We can't learn to understand and respect to find out how each other live. Yeah. We have to find out how each other live before we can, actually come to some kind of consensus about how to be as a community. But like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but that is a conversation that we could definitely continue, because it's a conversation that's not going away. Unfortunately, we will talk about other issues, other things will happen. I'm just trying to touch on that because I didn't do a video on the Walter Wallace shooting. The family members maybe should have helped long ago. It wasn't new to them. It wasn't. No, it wasn't new to them. So, like I said, you can go many ways with this. You can go really deep with it. But then again, you don't want to have something where it looks like you're victim shaming or you're blaming people for having issues that they may not have wanted to deal with. Because we could also talk about a side issue about mental health issues inside of the Black and brown communities. That's also a taboo thing that nobody wants to really talk about. But you know how that goes. So I'll leave that there because I have to go on to the next thing. Since I won't be around, or since I won't be doing a video later on in the month until after the 15th, I would say shout out to my veterans out there. Like I said, I've served myself. I was in the National Guard. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you folks out there who've made the ultimate sacrifice, for the ones that continue to make the sacrifice, for the ones that continue to fight for this country, to the ones that continue to defend the Constitution and the rights of us as Americans, even to argue with each other and go through the struggles with each other, and the liberties that we fight for and espouse to reach for. I do respect my veterans out there, and I implore you folks out there not to forget about the veterans. Salute to those folks out there that sacrifice for this country. Salute to those folks out there who are trying to just keep the United States free, just fighting for our freedom of speech. Okay, I see what you're 90 Glock. What are you saying? The problem is when you go into a situation. Let me see. The problem when you're going to see lights that are already going on, you can't control it. when you go in the second and third to know. Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with you on that. It is something that does require a lot more than what they gave it. But that's what that is. Thank you. I appreciate that, Brenda. But like I said, back to my veterans, I do want to give love and a shout out to those people out there that are serving in foreign lands that may not be home for the holidays, the folks that may not be coming home, until next year sometime, that are out there dealing with this, with the, enemy territory, fighting coronavirus, people that have lost, those folks that have been slain. It's not enough that's said for those folks out there that actually do what they have to do. Shout out to those folks that are struggling with issues of loss, of issues of trauma, people out there, struggling with PTSD, people that really are going through it. I mean, it's not enough said. It's not enough love that's given to our veterans. And I like I said, I just wanted to take the moment to talk about it because, like I said, it's people out there that really fight for me and you to go through what it is that we go through on a regular basis to try to keep this country going, just try to keep us afloat, even though we may not always see eye to eye, get along with each other and stuff like that. So, like I said, again, shout out to the veterans. Thank you for your service. Salute to you. Happy Veterans Day. I'm saying it in advance. Definitely much love to you, much support to you, you and your families, the military wives that support these fellas, the military husbands, the people that are just giving their all just to make sure that we're good, just to keep the red, white, and blue going, old glory. So definitely, I salute you. Thank you for your service. And I think I'm up to my final piece. My final piece for those folks that know, for those people that know me personally, for those folks that love me, for those folks that care. Um, it's kind of crazy. I'm turning 40 soon, so I'm getting old. Gonna be an old time. I'll be an old man. I'm not gonna be 40 right now. Thank you. Appreciate that. Candy, appreciate that. So on November 7th, 2020, I will be a generation. A generation is past 40 years old. It's kind of rough. It's kind of hard. I mean, not you just don't. Yeah, I'm still just a kid. Stop it, Brenda. I mean, not to the young ones. Like I said, I'm old man now, but I got gray hairs. If I let them grow, you'll see it. I look like a Black Wolverine or something. I don't know. Look like some old guy. But we ain't gonna get into all that. It's just kind of weird because you don't know what's going to happen from year to year. You don't know how long you're going to live and what's going on, especially coming from the places where I come from. A lot of folks that I grew up with, locked up, dead, just sick. Some people, you don't know what happened to them. So a lot of people are still around, but you just try to take it all in stride, put it all into perspective. You get older and sometimes you realize that you're not as smart as you thought you was, and you got a lot more to learn. And I'm just glad to make it through, and I appreciate my mother, appreciate my brother, appreciate my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody that helped me get along the way to this point. Shut off the shout out to Glenn Richardson. That's funny. I have a son that's 43. That shout out to that 43-year-old son. Because it is something to be said. And also, I say to those people out there who in their late 30s going into their 40s and who are already in their 40s going to their 50s, you're not old. You're still sexy and free. It's just that arthritis might be catching up with you a little sooner than you thought. You may have to put on the Bengay a little bit sooner than you would like. And like I said, it's just a blessing to be at this point in my life, to still be healthy, or to still be to the point where I can see, I can use my limbs. I'm good. I'm not as old as they said I would be. I'm not over the hill. I'm not done. I'm not in the grave. I'm not ready to go. I got a lot more life to live. Like I said, I'm just grateful for it. I don't know what I'm gonna do, on that day, because I don't really get too crazy about my birthday. But it's you just shouting at everybody 9 o'clock. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but like I said, I'm just gonna be grateful to be alive, and maybe take a sip of something and just keep it moving from there, And shout out to everybody else that made it another year, because this coronavirus thing, man, is kind of crazy. Shout out to TJ. Okay, shout out to TJ too. I'll be 65 March 6th. Shout out to you, congratulations. You know, and shout out to anybody that's just getting older, and shout out to anybody that's just living on and surviving in this time of Corona. You know, it's crazy like that. You know, but like I said, with that being said, you know, I'm just moving on and just putting it all into perspective. Just looking back and just grateful, you know, that on, you know, November 7th, 1980, a man child was born on the mean streets of Brooklyn. But, you know, I'll say that for the biography coming out later. Thank you for all those folks that watched and took the time to come to this live stream. I'm not going to keep you too much longer. Hopefully, this live stream was worthwhile. Hopefully, this was something good. Hopefully, you know, I didn't stumble over my words too much. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you just for showing love to me, coming through on the 1st and 15th for this Mail Live. And, you know, I'll see you next time. Like I said, I'll see you back on the 15th. Like I said, hopefully you stay safe, you know, stay healthy, stay sane. Go out there and vote if you haven't voted. If you don't vote and that's not your thing for religious reasons or for you don't trust the government or whatever, I understand that too. I'm not judging you. I appreciate you all the same. And it's all love, you know. As always, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Oh, gee, funny.